Welcome to another edition of the Eye on Life podcast. I am your host, Brian Boyer. Thanks again for joining us, giving up some of your time during the day to hear about all the things that are going on in life, daily life activities, the things that we talk about at the bar, at the dinner table, and of course at the gym, right? Because that's where we're heading today with our subject matter experts. And this is a great time of year. Now, I know that our guests today are in, two of the three at least are in warmer weather climates. Maryland, kind of borderline. So you guys get the nice year all year. But clearly, those of us who are up here in Connecticut in the winter, we're itching to get out. We're itching to get, in shape and maybe a little tan here and there. I know some of you got the Marvin, the LA guys don't have to worry about that. You get that all year. But a lot of us are going to the gym. We're starting to get in shape. We're maybe trying to watch what we eat a little bit. And we're going to the gym. And today we are going to talk a little bit about not so much the kind of exercises that you can do to get buff, what you should be eating. We might touch on that a little bit just because I'm curious what you guys are eating, because you guys all look fantastic. But more about the culture of gyms and how it's kind of evolved, why people go to the gym, and some of the quirks that are taking place at the gym. But before we get started, I have to ask a question. And I have a pet peeve, and I don't want anyone to get – before we came on air here today, I said to all three, I said, if this pet peeve is something that you do, I know Rochelle doesn't do it. Please don't find me and beat me up, because you guys look buff and ready to go at any time here. But what I'm noticing a lot more of lately, and I don't know if it's COVID or it's just people are out and about more, but I'm noticing more and more people out in public with no shirts on. And it's a trend that's bothering me. And when I say out in public, I'm not talking about restaurants. I'm not talking about malls. I'm just talking about jogging. I'm talking about biking. I'm talking about skateboarding. I don't know what it is. I'm probably overreacting, but I feel like there has to be some decorum in society. And I just feel like men, it's not a problem with women, obviously, but men should be wearing shirts in public. I'm sorry. At the end of the workout, if you want to take your shirt off, dive into the pool, go ahead. If you're running a half marathon or a marathon, take your shirt off. But if you're just running a few miles and you're running down the street, put a shirt on. Okay, and I want to just be very clear here. Okay, I want to be very, very clear. This is not a jealousy thing for me. I'm not jealous about it. Okay, I think that there are guys that have great bodies and go for it. That's great. And I'm also not insecure, because I can tell if a guy has a good body or not. And I have no issues standing up and saying, you know what, that guy has a nice physique. But where does it end? If you can't wear a shirt while you're jogging, where does it end? Okay, mowing your lawn, riding in a car, put a shirt on. Am I overreacting? I think I probably am. And come on, but guys, anyone weigh in on this? Bring me down to earth here. Am I overreacting?
I don't know if it's the area you're in, or here. We're in Orlando, Kissimmee. I don't see that honestly all too much, but maybe it's the area I'm in. But right now here, even next week, with the heat index, it's like 105 here.
Okay, then get an air conditioning and go inside. I'm sorry. It bothers me. And the other thing I want to be very clear on is I'm not shaming anyone, because I don't think people with a great body should do it or a horrible body should do it. I just think that it should be put your shirt on, and when you get home, take it off, jump into the pool, that's fine. Or you're at the beach, that's fine. But when you're jogging down the street, you're going 2 miles or 3 miles, put a shirt on. It's my public service announcement. What do you think, Marvin?
I will say you're overreacting, and this is why.
You're not the first person to tell me that about anything, trust me.
This is why, right? Like, you want to confine certain areas, right? So you're saying, if you're running, put a shirt on. But it's like, what if I have big nipples? What if they're chafing when my shirt runs? Like, there could be medical reasons for my shirt that needs to come off. I also sweat a lot. Okay, I'm disgusting. I'm a disgusting pig. So when I work out and I sweat, I am soaked. Okay, so I'm either the person that walks by you that is soaked head to toe, which is disgusting, or my shirt is on my shoulder and I am respectfully given a show while going away to clean myself off.
Well, that's fine, Marvin. I see where you're coming from, but let me just say, okay, I want a medical note from your doctor then, okay, if you're doing that. And aren't there shirts made now? Isn't there Vaseline that you can use down there? Rochelle, come on.
Yeah.
From a female perspective.
Yeah, guys could tape it up.
You don't have to do it. And the thing that drives me nuts about it is that I don't know. To me, it's always and Marvin, of course, this excludes you because you're a guest on the show, and Thayer, you too. I'm going to introduce you guys in a second too. I didn't forget about that, but I just feel like even if you have the physique to do it, you're like, oh, you look at me, I'm so great, I have the six pack, and if you don't have the body for it, then what's the point? I mean, just Rochelle, what do you think?
Oh God.
You like seeing a guy run down the street, good body or bad body? I mean, women aren't doing it, obviously. I mean, that's good. No. That's good judgment, right? So why are men doing this? You're speechless.
I think they're doing it just because they can. To be honest with you.
So so we're not reaching any conclusion today, but now at least everybody knows how I feel. But I agree. I understand. If you have a medical condition, then that's fine. But then I want you to carry a doctor's note with you so I can come up to you and I can police. No, I'm just kidding. I don't do that. I'm not a. What do they call it? What's the male version of a Karen? I'm not going up to people doing that. Trust me. This is my own.
The male version is actually. I think it's Timothy.
Is it Timothy? Well, I'm not being anyone. I'm not bothering anybody. Let me just say that I am not. If I do see somebody without a shirt, I'm not confronting them. Okay, it's just my own little judgment. Maybe I should confront them, but I'm not. I have other fish to fry. I get it. Anyway, that being said,
I would say this: if I'm somewhere and a guy's outside exercising with his shirt off, I would hope that anyone who might be with him or himself wouldn't have a problem if I choose to go exercising outside with just a sports bra on. Because sometimes I feel like there's a double standard, right? So if you're going to be shirtless outside exercising, don't have an issue if I have a sports bra on, just a sports bra on. That's all.
And just for the record, I have absolutely no issue with the sports bra. And I'm not saying that in a strange way. I have no issue with that. That's still clothes. There's clothes there.
Would you rather be in a sports bra, Brian? Would that make you more comfortable on my run?
That might be actually worse than me running without a shirt. But we'll leave it at that. And no, I'm not volunteering, Marvin. I'm not volunteering for that. Thanks for joining the show. Again, this is the Eye on Life podcast. You can subscribe at www.eyeonlifepodcast.com. We have some great guests today, as always. We're talking about gym culture today, and now clearly we know where everyone stands on the whole no shirt in public. But we have Thayer Flores, who is with us from Kissimmee, Florida, just outside of Orlando. He said right next to Disney World.
Yep.
I see weights in the back. I don't see Mickey Mouse. I have a feeling Mickey Mouse probably wouldn't be able to handle the kind of workout that you do. And you are the owner and head coach at HitFit.
Correct.
Which looks like a badass facility behind you there. I'm getting tired just looking at the weights. So we're going to talk to you a little bit today. We have Rochelle Cannon, who is a former trainer and is now based in Bowie, Maryland, which is kind of in between Baltimore and D.C. Great area. She's also known, I'm guessing, maybe as Wonder Woman. Also very buff and fit like you all are today. And thank you for joining us. We're going to find out why you're a former trainer, not current trainer. There's got to be a story behind that. And then also our furthest guest, who's actually 3 hours behind us, not mentally, only physically, Marvin Telp, who definitely runs with no shirt on. We know that now. And Marvin's from Los Angeles, trainer out there. We'll talk a little bit about that. You're my first guest from the West Coast, so thanks for that. Welcome to the show, everyone. Thanks so much for being with us. Let's just get to know you all first. And Thayer, let's start with you.
Sure.
I know that you're a former Connecticut guy. You grew up in Bristol, and so there are a lot of, and I know we have two former Connectian. What is it? I don't even know what they're called. Connectians, Connectoids, Nutmeggers. That's what it is. Thayer, tell us, how did you get into the whole workout training for a living? I mean, I have a tough enough time getting up in the morning to work out. Sometimes you're doing it for a living. How did you get into it?
Well, I truly feel, not everyone, but most people will start training usually because of a negative motivation, right? You get called fat, you feel ugly, you feel unhealthy, and my situation is no different. When I was 14, 15, 16, I was just insanely skinny, right? And just like in high school, I got pointed at, picked on. I remember the girl that I had a crush on laughed at me when we had a pool party, and those things, unfortunately, when you're that age, that stuff hurts. I mean, when you're 15, 16, 17, all you really want to do is be like everybody else, right? So at that age, you could see my ribs, and there was nothing attractive about me, or so I thought, in a very skinny way. And I was, made to feel really, really poorly about myself. And for a while, I didn't do anything about it. I just complained to my mom and dad, and they made fun of me, and boo-hoo. And that I didn't really do anything until I was in college, and I happened to have a really, really easy academic schedule, and I was bored out of my mind. And I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do? So I went to the gym with zero education. I knew no one, and I just made every single mistake in the book in terms of training wrong and wrong movements and eating poorly. And thank God I had a couple people just stop me, like, hey, dude, you're doing all these things wrong. It seems like you have a lot of motivation and energy, but let us guide you. And then that's really where it started. And then thankfully, because I don't know if it's genetic or whatever it was, I started to see changes relatively quickly. And then eventually that gym that I trained in college, they're like, hey, you want to train people? And back then you're in college, you have no money. And I just made it up as I went along, and then I started training people. And then I actually went to college at Furman University in South Carolina. And then after I finished college, I moved to Florida, where initially we were in Connecticut. Once we moved to Florida, I just came to a local gym. It was like a world gym. And again, I was 19 then, 20. I'll be 45 on Thursday, so I've been training people for about a long time, And I just started training people. And I will say there's two landmark events that I would really credit with, thankfully our success here at HitFit. When I started training people, two things were, I got, busier and busier. And then I met my now wife of 10 years, and she said, Thayer, because I compete in bodybuilding, right? And I was always I was the exact opposite of what you said, Brian. I was hoodie, headphones, don't talk to me. I'm too serious to talk to you. I'm too cool. So I was very almost antisocial, all right? And then my now wife, she's like, what's your problem? I know you're a nice guy, but if people don't feel comfortable approaching you, how are you ever gonna make any significant income? And again, back then I was young and stupid, and I'm just more stupid and not so much young, but that really opened my eyes. So I started wearing tank tops more, right? Not shirt off, but and people are like, wow, I never knew you had a good physique. And of course, just like, the hairstylist who has, really horrible hair, if you don't know what that person looks like, it affects your bank account. Trust me, whether it's Marvin or Rochelle, if you don't look the part in fitness, it affects whether people or not will hire you. And ideally, they should say, oh, Marvin's a great guy, I know him, he's a dad, he's really smart, he has this education. Ideally, those should be at the forefront of people's requirements, but they're not. So I truly believe, once people say, hey, it seems like Thayer looks like he looks good and he knows what he's talking about, and once I get people in the door, my wife and myself, Marissa, then we really use our education and how we apply fitness theories to keep the clients coming back. And so thankfully, we opened our gym a few years ago, and after the last couple of months have been pretty crazy, but we have a really solid foundation of really loyal, a fitness family. So we're able to really kind of weather the storm, and we're very blessed that way.
Well, I'm glad that you and your family and the people who your customers are healthy, and that you're getting back into it. And we're going to get to know Rochelle and Marvin in just a second here. But you did bring up a couple points before I forget.
Of course.
So you said so your wife, you guys met at the gym?
Yes.
Okay.
This was probably about 10 years ago. I was a trainer, and I definitely noticed my wife was just athletic, sexy physique, attractive brunette, and then she definitely turned my eye. She's gonna see this, so
keep talking then. Keep talking. It's good.
And at the time she approached me and she said, "Hey, listen, I'm getting my income tax return soon, and I would love to hire you as a trainer." And I would inside I was like my heart was just racing. This is where the corny part gets in. And then I told her, I'm like, hey, that's great. I'm running a special, where I'm charging clients $15 an hour, and any trainer knows, that's never a rate that any trainer really gives anybody. But it was an outright lie because I wanted to go on a date with this girl because she was, you know, beautiful and amazing and you know, super sweet. And then after I told that lie, right, and then she's like, hey, I got my income tax return, $15 an hour. Here's X, you know, so I want to buy X amount of sessions. And then I was very honest. I'm like, listen, as much as I would love to take your money, like just with good conscience, I cannot take you on as a client. And she's like, why? I don't get it. And I'm like, and I told her, I was like, because I have a insanely powerful and all-consuming crush on you. And that's exactly how I said it. And then thankfully, she didn't slap me across the face. You know, we went out, and then, you know, we were able to have some kids and kind of develop a really strong fitness family here. So, I mean, I think my story is relatively rare, but I'm fortunate. So,
we're gonna get back into that because we're gonna talk to all of you about gym relationships and friendships and bonds, because that's part of the culture.
Of course.
And from what I've heard, they don't all end like that one. I think a lot of them do end with a slap, with slaps across the face and maybe worse. So Rochelle, let's talk to you. And you know, Thayer brought up a really good point too, and I want to ask you about this. But you say, so you're a former trainer. You obviously still work out, and let's get to know you a little bit.
Sure.
You know, I go to the gym when I go to the gym, and I haven't been to the gym in a while. I like to, you know, jog outside with my shirt on. And I'm not really a big gym guy. I just don't like going because, as Thayer said, I don't want somebody coming up to me telling me what I'm doing is wrong or correcting me. It just, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I feel uncomfortable. I just like to listen to my music. I have my heavy metal music, and it's go time. You know, it's go time, right? So, tell us a little bit about, you know, kind of the gym cultures that you've been a part of, and your background and how you've gotten in this whole fitness industry, and you know, how you kind of decided that this would be part of your life.
Sure. Gosh, when I was in the military, when I was in the Coast Guard, and when I was stationed in Portsmouth, Virginia, I took a step aerobics class. So that's how old I am. I'm 45, and step aerobics was big back then. And the instructor was like, hey, you're really good at this. Do you want to become an instructor? And I was like, okay. So Coast Guard paid for that certification. I loved it. And then I actually got into bodybuilding because another person in the Coast Guard was like, hey, you look like you have a pretty decent shape, you know, and physique. You could do bodybuilding. Because I did, you know, growing up in Bristol, Connecticut, I did tap, jazz, ballet. I was a sprinter on the track team. I was a swimmer on the swim team. Anyway, so I got into competing, loved it. And then when I got stationed in DC, I was able to get into a health promotion and wellness manager position. And they paid for, it was actually required for the job to get certifications. So I was like, ooh, twist my arm, send me to Dallas, Texas. And I went to the Cooper Institute. And so it was a job requirement to become certified as a physical fitness trainer, biomechanics of resistance training, you know, the whole nine. And so then I just started doing it on the side at the local gym. So similar to Thayer, there's like a local world gym. So anyway, I did that personal training thing for a little while, but I eventually grew out of it for a couple of reasons. One, opposite of Thayer's experience, I started to experience where men didn't want to be my clients. I think because sometimes men just don't want to have a female trainer. And then secondly, I started running into, you know, women who didn't want me as their trainer because they would say they don't want to look like me. They don't want to be big like me. So they actually would choose to hire the female trainer who was super thin or mildly overweight. They didn't want to be a woman who was fit and muscular. So that's when I was like, okay, I got to move on and do something else. So because I'm not making money now doing this. So that's when I became a health and wellness coach. So I'm a board certified health and wellness coach and a health educator. And I got into competing. So I continued to compete over the years. And I would say now, because I think it's more accepted, if I wanted to, I'm confident I could I could do personal training on the side. But right now with a full-time job, and I just earned my pro card last year. So, training myself and working 40
Congratulations.
hours. Thank you so much. So it's a lot. So I believe in work-life balance. And so anyway, but yeah, so as far as the gym culture, so like I said, I feel like, way back when, and I'm talking like the, early 2000s, I don't think it was as popular for women to want to look fit and muscular. And I feel like it's changed. It's changed now. So
let me ask you a question about that too. I never realized that was a thing. Like I didn't realize that when one goes to the gym, that they would say, "Well, I'm taking the trainer that looks like how I want to look." I never realized that. I mean, it was just sort of whoever was available I would work with in the past. But you're saying that people go to the gym and say, "Well, I don't want to look that buff, so I don't want that person," or I want a male, I don't want a female, or the vice versa. That's a thing now. People actually do that.
Yeah. So people
that's
like,
strange to me.
yeah, because sometimes some of the gyms will have a trainer's bio and picture online, or if they just see you at the gym, sometimes, it's, hey, whoever you give me, I'll take. Other times it's, oh, I saw that trainer, or, so they can say to the membership person, hey, I prefer XYZ.
Well, I can't imagine looking at any one of the three of you and saying I don't want to look like that. The chiseledness here. But let me ask you a question. So, Marvin, I bet you everybody at the gym in LA is asking for you. Is that accurate?
Yeah, no, that's
okay. Well, close, I'm sure. So, tell us a little bit about your background, what you're doing out in LA as far as the fitness, the industry, and correct me if I'm wrong. I have some family in LA, and I've been to LA several times. I love it out there. I will admit that I love In-N-Out Burger, which is probably a faux pas on the fitness circuit. I know it's poison, but tell us a little about what you're doing out there, and is the culture in Los Angeles different as far as working out in fitness than it is on the East Coast, for example? Is that a thing? Is that true, or is that just something that people think?
Well, I started my journey in New York. So I started training at New York Sports Club, right on the Upper West Side of New York, Manhattan Island, and being able to go from there to here, there is a huge culture difference between what I can only speak of the Upper West Side of New York versus LA. The Upper West Side of New York, there was a lot of, families, women, men who were just like, I want to be healthy. And then here in LA, there's a huge, huge emphasis on what the aesthetics of certain things are. So you'll have your clients who are a little bit older, who just want to move better, feel better, be able to get up in the morning and their back not hurt, their knee not hurt. You have that on both sides. There's such a huge aesthetic because you're at the beach, you're in Tinseltown, so there's so many models and actors and stand-up comics and people who are just on camera, so you get a huge aesthetic push. But I kind of also really enjoy working with people who want to run into the wall. Like, I love clients that are like, what do you want me to do? Run into the wall head first? That'll help? Got it. And that's an exaggeration on the type of what I would have someone do, but what it is someone who's committed to the process. And so in that, you get a lot of former athletes out here, you get a lot of current athletes out here, you get people who, work in the office, but want to make sure that when they go out on Friday, they look like their friends. And so it's been a lot of fun out here, and challenging because, again, there are 1,000 trainers in a 2 square block radius in LA. So to be able to stand out, and that's where, as Thea said, your education becomes extremely important, because people come in, and the thing they'll say is, I want to bench 225. And it's like, okay, but it's, how do we get you there? How do we get you there safely? How do we maintain this? are we training in balance? Are we making sure that we're not doing anything to damage your back while we're working here? Are your shoulders safe? Make sure you put your, and all of those things. That's what makes us valuable. And every trainer is not like that. Every trainer does not have that, and that is part of the culture out here. There are people who, I don't want to knock herbal life, herbal whatever, but they aren't trainers. They make up some shit that they. I'm sorry, is this kids on here?
No, there's no FCC regulations on podcasts.
Okay.
As long as I'm the one not saying it, that's fine.
Okay. So they're not educated. They sell a product, but they get results, and people are happy with those results. And then what happens is injuries come. Oh, my knee's been weird. Oh, Marvin, my knee's been weird since 1997. And it's like, okay, what's going on with your knee? And then after 6 months of training, I go, I forgot my knee hurt. Surprise.
Right. And then they come to you to fix it, right? Is that what happens?
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. When you train them correctly and you train in balance, you make sure that you're working push pull, you're working I just went blank, stabilizing muscles, and you're doing all the little things. All of a sudden, pain tends to slide away quietly on its own.
Let me ask you this question, and I'm sure that your family and friends from back east, and even probably your friends out there, ask you this question, and it's probably an annoying question, but based on where you are located in Los Angeles, do you work with have you worked with anyone who's any famous clients or anybody that's known that you're able to mention, or is that all confidential?
I have a few, and I try to keep it as confidential as possible. Not that I'm ashamed, just name dropping feels weird to me personally.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. I was curious to know if the let's say an actor or actress, if they train differently than the standard person. I mean, if there's a role that they need, or you talked about former athletes. I mean, I would imagine that's part of the culture, right? These are probably. Talk a little.
I have a stand-up comic who I train, and he trains for the sake of just saying he has a trainer, right? We joke, we try to push through the workout. He finds every excuse to tie a shoe, to untie a shoe, to his shorts are loose. I got to refix my shorts. Marvin, my water bottle, but then I have an actor who spends a lot of time on camera. And so if she sees something that she doesn't like on an interview or something like that, she wants to dive into that for the next 6 months. This can never happen again. So you'll get that aspect of it where, again, that's the aesthetic part of it. And then when you deal with former athletes just miss going to war. Like, as a former athlete myself, sometimes there was something oddly nice about 5 a.m. workouts, and oddly nice about the 12 p.m. lift session, and oddly nice about not being able to walk up the stairs. Like, there's this weird thing that you do find yourself missing.
What was your sport?
I played football.
Football.
Yeah.
Okay. What was your position?
Corner.
Nice. Oh, those are the athletic guys. They have to
a little bit
be back there. Yeah, that's awesome. And I just want to note that you did shake your head emphatically no when I mentioned In-N-Out Burger. So I assume that's not something that you encourage to indulge on after a workout. I mean, after a really hard workout. No, is that frowned upon?
I'm sure my other two colleagues can say I'm a big whole food pusher. Like, I am a eat real food. Like, processed food is not doing you any service. It's already processed, so you're giving your body less than what it needs, right? If you want to get a burger, get a real burger. Get a high quality sirloin, Angus beef. If you're going to get it, get it. Do it as right as possible, right?
Some good steakhouses out there.
But
Protein.
ideally, watching your fat content and all of those are just important. Not for, like, we can argue aesthetics. We can say this is what your fat count should be in a day, but just as a human, when we're dealing with diabetes, heart issues, stress levels, and all of these things, like, it's real easy to take care of yourself by eating whole foods. And
Fair.
I don't mean the company. This is not an advertisement.
Right. Whole Foods, not the supermarket. The actual wholeness of the food that you're eating.
Yeah.
I want to ask you all this question, but I want to start with Thayer because Thayer, I just want to ask you a question. If you do me a favor, because when you come back for your reunion, I want to be there to see that girl that turned you down. I think that would be fun to watch. But if you didn't go to the gym to find your future wife, but you found her.
No.
And congratulations for that. I think that's a great story. And I hear all different kinds of stories from the gym. The hookups, the relationships that work, the weirdness of being hit on by someone, male or female, whatever. Why do people go to the gym? I mean, it just seems like now there are more reasons to go to the gym than just working out. The whole point of the show, there's a culture. I've made the joke before that it's almost, in some gyms, I know they're the niche gyms or niche, however you say it, almost cults. These people are together all the time. It kind of freaks me out a little bit. But let's start with you, Thayer, and I want you all the answers. Why do people go to the gym? Honestly, I mean, it's not just. Let me change the question. Besides trying to get in great shape, why do people go to the gym?
Well, I really have two phases, or two steps to that answer. So for almost forever, probably 20, 22 years, I worked in a commercial gym as a trainer. Your LA Fitnesses, your Lifestyle, even Planet Fitness for a bit. And I would say, and now, so my wife and I, we own an interval training gym. I mean, it's similar to a CrossFit setup, but not really, because my background is in bodybuilding, so we program differently. But anyway, I would say one of the biggest things is, besides, again, whatever, abs and looking great and shirts off and posting Instagram pictures, which, I mean, that's of course part of the gym culture. I really think people just want a feeling of belonging. I mean, whether it's, you and your boys hanging out, or you're training together, or just being part of something, even if you go to a commercial gym, you know nothing, you know no one, you just go in and you suffer and you learn with everyone else. There's that feeling of, that these people are doing the same thing I'm doing, and there's really an uplifting, positive part of that, and I truly think that's what people will go to a gym for. Maybe not at the very beginning, but that's what people will really resonate with in terms of sticking with a gym and being able, like I said, I mean, being accepted and belonging and feeling good about yourself. I mean, those are insanely powerful motivators. So really, really powerful.
That's a great point, and I'll be honest. As I said, I'm not a huge gym guy, and I do sometimes mock the culture. And I do. I've been to gyms. I've enjoyed them before. But Rochelle, as when I go to the gym, I'm actually the guy. I don't wear hoodies, but I really don't want anybody to pay attention to me. I want to put on my headphones, listen to my music, and not talk to anyone. And I probably should, and I actually am a social person normally. But how do I choose the gym that's best for me? And I don't mean me, myself. I'm just saying, the show is Eye on Life. The eye is not me. The eye is all of our listeners. So anybody who might be listening or watching, and Thayer makes a great point about feeling, unified and the camaraderie of it. But how do I choose the gym? I mean, if I walk into the bodybuilder gym, I'm not feeling comfortable. Maybe if I walk into the New York Sports Club, I am. How do I make the choice?
Right. That's a great question. So getting a tour, or even getting a day pass or a couple days, free pass for a couple days, and just observing the energy, really, because you're absolutely right. You've got to feel comfortable. There are gyms, and even myself, I can tell you, I've been to gyms where it's hardcore bodybuilders, and I can even feel uncomfortable. And I'm talking about male and female, right? And, not feeling much, that they're very personable and feeling like I'm even being judged. So I don't, I don't know. I don't go to those gyms, right? But then I've been to other gyms where I could see that it was like, it might as well have been a nightclub. And it's so obvious that people are more concerned about how cute their outfit is, and, and it's all, and people are staring at you like you're a T-bone steak. And I choose not to have that at when I'm working out. I don't want you staring at me like I'm T-bone steak, and I'm not there to hook up like that, right? So definitely choosing the gym where you also got to feel inspired and motivated. So I actually belong to 2 gyms, and one of them, it's not a very motivating environment, right? And so people go there for, I think, more maintaining good health, which is fantastic. Excuse me. But I realized, and that one's a little bit closer to my house, but going to the one that's 10 minutes up the road is a much more motivating environment, because that one actually is a perfect mix of, all the above. And I personally like it because there's a variety of people, variety of shapes, sizes, experience levels, and people are personable and will, you can talk and still be focused and feel comfortable, right? And so, and yes, people will go to the gym. I think this whole COVID-19 pandemic going on is a perfect example of how the gym is, people also go to the gym because it's a good place to just escape and unwind your mind from everything else. So I personally was having a really rough time for a while. Doesn't matter that I have dumbbells in my house. I know what to do using my body weight. I've got bands, blah, blah, blah. But what I really realized is going to the gym, it was nice because it was separate from my home, right? It was separate from my job. And so it's just mentally, a really good way to just escape and focus. You don't have the comforts of your home and all that other stuff. So, but yeah, great way to pick is get as many free day passes as you can at different gyms, and just get a feel for how you are feeling. Listen to your gut and how you're feeling.
I do have to ask you a follow-up question, and I'm asking this. I want to be very clear, very careful with the podcast, and we're not talking about politics or religion on the podcast for obvious reasons. And I'm not asking you this question because you're female. I'm asking it because you brought it up. But I personally have never been looked at as a T-bone steak in a gym that I'm aware of. So, for actually not even that in a gym. I don't think I've ever been looked at like that in public or wherever. But that's a whole separate story on another show. So the person that looks at you like that, kind of creepy. And I have every female friend that I have, I've heard stories about the gym and some creepy guy. And it's usually a guy. Sorry, let's just call it what it is. It's usually a guy. Kind of staring them down, maybe getting a little too close. So the person who's eyeing you like that, are you ignoring them? Are you confronting them? How are you handling that? And I say it half jokingly, but half serious, because you should be able to go to the gym as a male or female and be able to work out in peace. How are you, Rochelle, the Wonder Woman there, handling that kind of situation?
I ignore it.
Okay.
Yeah, I ignore it. But here's the thing, that it's flattering if you are looking at me like I'm a T-bone steak. But what I personally have more appreciation if you come up and speak to me and say, hey, I just want to let you know I respect your work ethic. It's obvious to work hard. So as long as there's like a follow-up, to that, if you're staring like a T-bone steak, just come and speak to me, and that's all. But for the ones that are kind of creepy, I just ignore them and keep my focus. But yeah. So
is it bad that I'm hungry now? I'm actually, we were talking, Marvin was talking about fresh Whole Foods and In-N-Out Burger. Now we're talking about T-bone steaks. And the thing that I'm loving about this show also today is, first off, the couple things that I know is, first off, I am loving the activity over down in Kissimmee, Florida. You got the business is obviously going well there, so that's awesome. Yeah. And the other thing that I'm noticing, everybody always says stay hydrated. I'm not going to ask you guys what you have in those cups that you're drinking from, but I assume that it's probably. And I love that weight that's awesome. Yeah. I don't know how much water's in there, but I love the weight.
78 ounces. 78 ounces.
it's like multi-purpose. So Marvin, I want to ask you kind of the same thing, you know, and we talked a little bit about, you know, the LA scene and why, you know, why people are going to the gym. But when you're interacting with people at the gym, and LA is, you know, LA is so big, it's so decentralized. You know, I don't know if you go to a gym in Beverly Hills, if that's different than going to Brentwood or out to Santa Barbara. If they're all, I don't know if those are all different or they're similar. But why are people going to the gym in LA? Is it really that just to look good, or are there other reasons why people are going to Los Angeles?
Well, since we've eliminated to get fit and be healthy, the sense of community is a huge thing, right? Like that is a huge thing. Like big box gyms, small intimate gyms, what happens is if you come in at 8 o'clock, you have the 8 o'clock crew, you have the 9 o'clock crew, you have the 10 o'clock crew. So there's a lot of familiarity, and you'll see these people become like lifelong friends and things of that nature. And we're talking, you know, 55-year-old women who've never met these women, and all of a sudden you can hear them 6 months later walking into the club like best friends. And then people go shopping. This is I guess the dark side of it, but like men and women come to the gym to go shopping, meaning they'll look at someone like Rochelle like a piece of meat because they're literally going, do I want to order T-bone tonight, or do I want to get lamb? So there are, and you can see them, right? They'll come in, like the dude will come into the gym. He's got on his tights. They're white because they need to be white. And then he's got on white sneakers, and then he's got on like a tank top, which may or may not be fitting. It all depends on what his body type is. And he's walking around, and his chest is puffier than any weight bodybuilders that I know, because he's doing this.
Did you see me out there at the gym once? This sounds very familiar.
Listen, it's familiar because we've all seen it.
Okay, it is.
Thousands of times. He's doing curls the entire workout, right? And he's just looking around. And then when he gets done, he pulls his shirt up in the mirror to look at his non-existent abs to go back to do curls. He is not there to work out. He is there hunting.
Is that acceptable? I mean, I want all of you I want to ask you all this question, because is that, you know, should we just be honest here and say that's why a lot of people are going to the gym, or is that something like the dark underworld of gym culture? Like people are going there to try to hook up. Is it acceptable to say, yeah, I want to meet someone, I'm going to the gym because they're like-minded people trying to get in shape like I am, or is it taboo?
I want to say it's not a lot, because I think a lot is misleading. Most of the people at the gym I honestly believe are at the gym for the right reasons, right? And then you have outliers who are there shopping, right? The other thing that's cool about the gym situation, like there, he met someone who was like-minded, right? And that's one of the things that's important in the gym, is you can see someone's value system by their commitment, by how they work out, by what they do. So that could lead to an attraction in the gym. It's not just all about getting laid, but there are dickheads everywhere, guys and girls who bastardize what the culture is.
You do hear about that. I mean, you do hear about the man or the woman at both sides, hooking up with their trainer, hooking up with the guy that they were working out with. I guess it works for you. It's fine, but that doesn't seem to be the main reason why people are going.
No, I don't know. I don't think so at all. I think the thing that happens with trainers and clients is we're pushed into a level of intimacy that you aren't pushed into with anyone else, right? Like you're actually forced into this level of intimacy. The touch barrier is gone immediately. Mm-hmm. You're having intimate conversations about your insecurities, your wants, your desires, and all of these things. And sometimes what happens is we confuse what's happening in our relationship with something more, right? And then the person all of a sudden is, my trainer is attractive. Oh, she's attractive. Oh, we should hang out. Oh, we should hang out. Oh, I saw him doing jumps at the gym. He could jump my bones. And it gets weird, right? Like, it happens. But that's, I still think people come in with the purest of intentions to start.
Sure they do. No, I'm sure I do. I think they do. You're right about that. I think. I said before, I have some friends, guy friends, who I will tell you something, Rochelle. If you were my sister, I would beat the crap out of these guys, and they're my friends. I don't trust them at all, but nonetheless, it's the company that you keep, I guess. I'm not like that, but we're starting to wrap things up a little bit. I do have a couple more questions. I do just want to ask before I let you guys go. Is there a line? I'll ask you all this. So, what's the line? That you don't cross when it comes to the relationships. And Thayer, you're a good example to ask this too, because you may have crossed the line, but it worked out well. You knew, and that's awesome. I think that's a great story for you guys to tell, and I'm sure that happens sometimes. But is there a line when you're at the gym between male, female, male, whatever, whatever your preference is? Is there anything where you're crossing the line from actually working out wholesomely to actually bothering and harassing someone? Anybody can answer that one. I mean, you did give a pretty steep discount. I have to say, I'm impressed by that.
I did.
I'm impressed by that. But is there a line that people just shouldn't cross? And maybe it's the creepy guy who stares at you for an hour, or maybe it's the guy that walks around with no shirt on. Although I think in gyms you have to wear a shirt, I hope. Are there lines that should not be crossed?
Yeah, I think the line, and I'm sorry, I feel like I'm talking too much, but I think the line is just respect. Like, respect the other person, right? Like, here's the thing. The line for if you're flirting and dating and fooling around with someone, your line is different than if I don't know you at all and I'm staring at you from across the gym drooling. Like, respect each person that's there, and you don't have to worry. Like, the line is clear. I think the line sits on mutual respect.
There's a lot of, I'll tell you something, there's a lot of testosterone at these gyms. It can be a bit much sometimes. Is it, and I'm asking you all this question, and feel free to weigh in, is it acceptable to make noises while you're at the gym? Grunts, yelling, whether you, let's say you're by yourself and you're working out. Is that okay? I mean, I understand if you have a partner, come on, let's go, one more. I get that. I love that. I think that's great. But if you're by yourself, is it okay to grunt? Is that acceptable? That's not...
Absolutely.
Okay.
I would say for sure. I mean, like I said, my wife and I, we grew up in a commercial gym. And I said, I even worked at Planet Fitness for a while. And part of their culture is, like, shh, it's a library. That's part of why we opened up our own facility. I mean, we thankfully in our position where we can make all the rules. I mean, if people are training hard and respectful, I mean, they can bust their butts and make whatever noise they want as long as they're genuine in their effort. I mean, we are. I mean, between deadlifts and chalk. I mean, so we're in a really special environment that way. I mean, you're busting your butt, we'll clap endlessly. I mean, whatever noise you're making, as long as your effort and your intentions are sincere, we applaud that.
So as people are grunting and moaning and screaming and whatever they do while they're at the gym.
Well, there's not much moaning here, so
moaning
the noises we are kind of
that goes back to the
condoning.
relationship piece that we were talking about, but we won't. We'll leave that alone for right now. But as far as what I find that really, and this is actually more of a fitness question, more than gym culture, but it does go to the gym culture as well, because there are different kinds of gyms for different kinds of people, right?
Of course.
And one of the things that I find very interesting is that everybody has their thing, right? There are, I run and I do half marathons. I struggle, but I do them. But I go into I do a boot camp class, and I'm done in 5 minutes. I'm nauseous. The room is spinning. But I know boot camp people that can't run a mile. So why is that? Why is it that some people can run a marathon, but then they're crying literally when they're 10 minutes into a boot camp or a yoga session? And I'll open that up to anyone who wants to answer it.
It's really the specificity of training, I mean, you train to, if you practice high intensity training, you're going to get great at it. I absolutely suck at running. I mean, high intensity training, that's what we do here at HitFit. But in terms of, long distance, endurance activities, I'm horrible. I mean, could I get better? Yes. Do I choose to keep HIIT training because it's what I I'm, really passionate about, and absolutely. And then, like I said, the specificity of how you train, just like anything else, is going to reflect in ultimately what you become exceptionally good at,
Right. And Brian, the other thing too is, some people are born with more white muscle fibers or red muscle fibers, right? So, Brian, you may be just more predisposed to be better at long distance running, right? Where Thayer may be better at, shorter sprints and bursts of workouts. So a lot of it too is what, like Thayer said, you can train for something specifically, but if there's something that is, more of your natural physical ability, right, then you're just going to be better at one thing than the other.
That makes a lot of sense. And Marvin's, same question to you. And is there also a geographic factor as well? I mean, I find that obviously when you live in a warm weather climate, you can be outside all year. I see a lot more people jogging in LA and San Diego than I do in here in Hartford, for example, just because you can't do it all year. You can do it indoor. But is that a factor, or am I overstating that?
Well, that's also just consistency in training, right? Like if you're doing anything and you're able to be consistent throughout the entire year, you're fine. I also believe like training outside, if you're running outside versus running through a treadmill, is different. You're running through different elevations. You're not in this perfect environment where it's cool, and so all of those things also make a difference. The warm weather here does allow people to just out more, and so whatever type of training that they're doing, they're able to do. Like you go to the beach, you'll see runners, you'll see weightlifters, you'll see HIIT, you'll see acro yoga. Like it's so like it's just.
Wait, what's Afro yoga? I have to ask what that is.
Acro yoga is like the acrobatic yoga where like someone's like on someone's shoulders and like upside down. Yeah.
I think I'll stay away from that one.
Me too.
Interesting. I'm going to ask you guys each one last question. I want to stay with you, Marvin, on this one. But let me ask you this. As far as, if you guys just kind of keep it brief on this one, but what is, from what you hear from clients and even your own personal experiences, what's one thing people love about the gym and one thing people loathe, just hate about the gym?
People love me.
They love you. I could see that. I could actually see that. I could see moving to Los Angeles, and I still want to know who that comedian is that you're training, but we won't push you on that.
Thank you. Because I wouldn't say. No, people, again, the camaraderie, people being able to see changes, that's always a big thing. Like when people can go, oh my God, I see results. Oh my God, my blood pressure numbers have gone down. My cholesterol numbers have gone down. I'm no longer taking this pill. All of these things are what people really, really love about the gym.
Rochelle, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off.
They loathed about the gym.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Walking up the steps after leg day, like that might be when you see them loathe something about the gym.
I think you have to be wired a certain way to enjoy that pain afterwards, but that's a point well taken.
Yeah, I mean, you've done something when your legs are wobbly on the stairs, though.
My legs are wobbly on the stairs even when I haven't worked out. But again, I need Marvin to train me. That's the problem. Rochelle, same thing for you as far as in your experience and even what you're doing now as a health and fitness consultant and whatnot. What are people telling you that they love about the gym and something that they hate? Maybe they hate being labeled as a T-bone steak. I don't know. Maybe it's something more than that.
People coming into a gym, whether it's commercial or here, and feeling lost. That's an incredibly scary, painful feeling. I know I want to work on my stomach or my butt, or I need to be. Hold on, I'm gonna have to yell at my team in a second.
I want to see that. Let's see that. I want to.
Veronica, un momento, okay? Sorry.
No, you're good. I actually like that. I like the background noise.
Yeah. And sorry. I said, wanting desperately to change, but having no idea how to do it. I mean, back to the, what Marvin was saying. I'd like to swear a little bit, but that's a crappy feeling. You feel bad about yourself, and you want it so badly, and then you're like you're completely lost. but you wanna pay the membership, you wanna pay the trainer, because ultimately you're paying mostly for hope. That's what you're paying for, right? Here's my $39. I'm gonna buy, get this trainer. He looks great. He charges a lot, but you know what? I hope I can get to my goal. And that's, again, that's a very scary feeling. And the love aspect is simply the other aspect of that, the other side of that coin, where if you can get into a place, like Rochelle was saying, like a day pass, where the community and the feel of a place is very nurturing, I mean, that love is irreplaceable. And like I said, I mean, we got people here, and I mean, if you can be part of something bigger than yourself on the days where you feel like crap, on the days that you have no energy, the days that you don't want to train, and then you get people to, kind of pull you out of that, that's a powerful thing. And if you don't find that in fitness, it's very, very rare you're going to stick with it long term. Not impossible. There's a lot of strong individuals out there, but if you don't have a community to again pick you up when you're feeling down, or some days you're lazier than others, that's what people lose sight of. It's not all about you. It's not.
You guys have been tremendous guests. Thayer, I want to give you a chance to, if people want to find out more information about you and your gym,
absolutely.
Where can they go for that?
So, of course, we'll share everything. So if you want to go to www.hitfit, HIIT.fit, our website's on there. I mean, and then we're also on Instagram under HitFit Kissimmee. Come check us out. We would love for you guys to come try the class here.
Thayer Flores, thanks for joining us. And Rochelle, same thing for you. I know you have a great business down there in Bowie, Maryland, my former stomping grounds down there a little bit. Where can people find out more information about you?
The easiest and quickest would be through Instagram. So my Instagram handle is just at Rochelle Cannon Fitness, RACHELLECANNON Fitness.
And Marvin, where can all those comedians go that want to get in pretend shape?
The best place to find me is on Instagram, just like Rochelle said. It's at Marvin's Help. It's very simple. No underscore, no dashes, no dots, nothing. Just Marvin Help. Need help, get help.
Easy to remember. We've had some fun. We've made some jokes. Health is not a joke. That's serious. Gym culture is serious, but it's also a little goofy sometimes. But we did learn a lot today from you and your insight. And the serious part is, though, I do hope that as we get through or continue to proceed with all of the COVID and everything, that you and your loved ones and your clients and everyone stays healthy and stay healthy, and that you stay healthy as well, and that your businesses flourish, because you have a lot going for you. And Thayer, I want that friends. I know that I don't have the same looks as your bride there, but I still want that family and friends discount if I'm ever down in Kissimmee.
Come to Disney World when they do open, and stop in. We'll take care of you, man.
I love it, man. I love it. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much. And again, I want to thank all of our guests, Thayer, Rochelle, and Marvin, for being with us. Great guests. And I want to thank all of our listeners and watchers on Eye on Life podcast. You can find this through social media channels and at www.eyeonlifepodcast.com. And remember, this crazy thing called life, I know it sounds a little hokey, but we are all in it together. So do me a favor. I can't do it all. So help me keep an eye on life. Until next time, see you then. Thanks.
Thank you.
Guys.
You guys are awesome.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.